Hello, I'm Mary Laverdure, and I've got the pleasure of speaking with Amitabh Srivastav, who is going to be doing a session at ARMA InfoCon 2019. And we're just going to talk a little bit about what he's doing at the session. So, as the profession keeps evolving, you've been around for a while, what skills will information governance professionals need in the 2020s and beyond?
First off, hi, Mary. Nice to meet you. Thank you for the questions. I really look forward to the conference. And I think your question is a great question. The profession definitely is changing a lot, and I think it's given the proliferation of the different sources of information, social media, the Internet of Things, cloud solutions, media streaming, so on and so forth. So I think the traditional RIM skills really need to be kicked up several notches to really help businesses understand governance, compliance, and how to manage and in fact reduce risk. I believe privacy legislation in Europe, such as GDPR and of course California's Privacy Act, which many attendees are familiar with, along with similar acts and regulations in Canada and elsewhere, really present huge compliance risks to organizations, both public and private. So I think the profession really cannot be thinking the old school records management or even just records information management, but really need to be thinking about threat risk assessment and really focusing on cost benefits risk and even records threat management. I think these are skills that really take the information governance professional out of the records room and really into the line of business operations, and they can become partners at the table with other senior management to really look at information as a strategic asset and how to manage the risks of those assets like anything else. I think really that is what really needs to be the person needs to really look at.
We hear so much about information breaches. They seem rampant, almost one a day. Can you name two things that organizations must do to stop this threat?
I think there are a number of things, but I think from my perspective, the things that really must be, I think first is really organizations need to understand and have a strategy to control the proliferation of cloud-based solutions and storage repositories. Secondly, they need to know in very clear terms where all of their mission critical information assets are and vital records and where they're stored. If you get hacked, and you certainly will, it's not a matter of when, but you will. You need to know where the information is stored, why is it stored there, and how active is the information, and whether you should be keeping that information or not. And really only keep what you need to keep operationally or what you need to keep for regulatory compliance reasons. And everything else really should be disposed of based on your disposition schedule. So I think really these are the two things that organizations must really focus on, is understanding the proliferation of the information and where the information is stored.
Mm-hmm. And as we talk more about information governance, what topic, and it covers, it's wide ranging, what topic or domain do you feel is underutilized in organizations?
I think the topic really that is underutilized is really around risk management and really asking the question, how well are you managing your information governance and compliance risks, but in the context of digital transformation. So that's the domain, is risk management and in the context of digital transformation. Digital transformation is on every senior executive's mind, every senior management, public or private sector, non-government organizations. And certainly as organization becomes more digital, you really need to ask, how well are you managing those risks? Today, clients, customers, partners, citizens, they're all expecting digital solutions to the problems they're looking at, accessing products and services on demand and when and where they want it. And this is only possible via digital transformation. So if an organization does not transform digitally, it becomes less relevant. And if you're in the private sector, potentially goes out of business. So really, that's the domain, is risk management in the context of digital transformation.
Mm-hmm. And you've got a session coming up at ARMA InfoCon 2019. And what are you speaking on? Can you give us a little idea? And what kind of activities maybe do you have planned in the session? and then the takeaways that your participants will get from that session.
Sure thing, Mary. That's a great question. So I'm really speaking on managing risks by developing good information governance, and really that you need an information governance policy framework. Essentially, does the organization have the correct policies in place that will support the IG initiative and help manage the risks? The participants will learn the steps that they need to create the framework, what are some of the relevant policies of the framework, and how to prioritize policies. As well, the attendees will have some tools that they can take away with them that they can use in their own organization. The session is really hands-on workshop, and there are two exercises that the participants will be involved in. The first one is in the business scenario where the individual has been brought in as a consultant, let's say, and they're looking at the organization because it failed in an audit for information governance. So now they have to look at the policies that they have to develop and the framework that they'll use. The second exercise is then how do they constitute the team that will in fact help lead this initiative, and they have to identify the roles, responsibilities, and who would be consulted and who would be informed. So basically they would have to pull together a RACI. And so in both cases, it'll be tools that the individuals are able to work hands-on and then take it back with them to their own organization.
That sounds great, and I'll bet a lot of people would like to attend that.
Oh, gee, thank you.
I definitely. And just a reminder, and to remind you, Amitabh Srivastav is the Vice President of Operations and Information Governance at Helix Systems in Ottawa, Canada, and he will be presenting at ARMA InfoCon 2019. And you can learn more about the conference and all the educational sessions at arma.org. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary. I really enjoyed speaking with you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.